Thank you very much for joining us on platform. I'm Ruth Aguela. The COVID-19 we know no doubt has affected all sectors of the economy. But before coronavirus pandemic outbreak in Nigeria, the federal government was focusing on diversifying the nation's economy, that is from oil and gas. And with a crashing global oil price, there is no better time to look inward than now. Now, if we must revive the economy, of course. Now, one area of interest of the federal government aside agriculture is the mining sector. And the Ministry of Mines and Steel has been positioned as part of its mandate to contribute to diversification of the country's revenue base, also create jobs and broaden the scope of opportunities available to Nigerians for economic advancement. Now, to achieve an accelerated developmental plan, steps need to be taken, of course, to explore all aspects of the nation's rich natural resources, irrespective of the gloomy outlook of the economy in the wake of COVID-19 and, of course, post-COVID-19. How then do we harness these opportunities as a nation and tackle impending challenges faced by the sector? The Ajakuta Steel Company is back on the limelight. What are the benefits of its resuscitation for the nation's economic growth? Our focus on platform today is COVID-19, Nigeria's mining sector and sustainable development. And we have no other person than the Minister of Mines and Steel, Architect Olamilekun Adegbite. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Let's take you through a brief of his profile. Architect Olamilekun Adegbite has over 35 years experience in architecture and construction. He holds a Bachelor of Environmental Studies and Masters of Environmental Design from the School of Architecture, University of Lagos. He also earned a Master of Science in Construction Management from the same university, that is Lagos State University. He also served as Commissioner for Works and Infrastructure in Ogun State from 2011 to 2019. Now, while serving as the Ogun State Commissioner for Works Infrastructure, he played a key role in the construction of roads, flyover bridges, and other infrastructural developmental projects in the state. He was appointed as Minister of Mines and Steel Development by President Muhammadu Buhari in 2019. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you so much.
All right, I won't be the only one, of course, to look at the focus on today's program. We have our panelist, Mines and Steel correspondent, Mie Ogidi. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Ruth.
All right, so, Minister, let's begin this way. What can you tell us as an overview of the ministry that's talking about Mines and Steel sector before COVID-19 and now?
Well, I think we have to give it to President Muhammadu Buhari. Proud to even COVID-19. Sometime, I think as far back as when he came into office in 2015, there had been conscious effort to promote the mining sector. And I think for the first time in the history of the ministry of the sector, government deliberately gave money as intervention fund, something outside the budgetary cycle. And this money was given in 2017 to promote the mining sector. Mining is all about data and all that, you know, presenting the facts as they are under there to attract the right investors. And I think this administration, right from onset, even before I came on board, had focused properly towards diversifying the economy, of course, with the mining sector. And like I said, this has started. So it's a journey that was started even before COVID came in. And now with the COVID and, of course, the collapse of the oil and gas industry, it's even more imperative for us to move faster. A lot of plans that we had before, we have to add some impetus and make sure that we bring them to fruition sooner than later.
Let me take this quote by Rachid Meswad. He's a World Bank country director for Nigeria. He once said this in 2017. He said Nigeria has a favorable geological potential that, if adequately assessed, well exploited and sustainably managed, could support broader economic growth through the mineral sector. Now, from what you're saying, have we really tapped from what we are blessed with?
Well, if you go back historically, Nigeria relied on mining prior to the advent of oil and gas. In fact, we say that most of the infrastructure that was used to develop the oil and gas, the money came from mining. When the British were here, Nigeria was quoted copiously on the London Metal Exchange, you know, for tin, for columbite, and of course for coal. We were a major exporter. At a point in time, Nigeria was the largest exporter of coal to the world. But with the advent of oil and gas, what happened was sort of we drifted away from mining. And I think sometime in the 70s, 75, 76, there was this indigenization decree, which of course made the major players in the mining industry in Nigeria then to leave Nigeria because of the indigenization decree. And of course, focus had gone away from mining of the minerals. And of course, we face oil and gas. So from then, there was a gradual decline, of the mining sector. And I think, like I said, the awareness started coming back. I must say, even proud to President Muhammadu Buhari. But it was President Muhammadu Buhari administration that actually gave a bite to that. It was more of talk. Okay, we need to diversify the economy. Let's use the mineral sector and all that. But for the first administration to really back it up, I think sometimes 2017, there was an intervention fund of about 30 billion naira. Yeah. This is unprecedented because, if you rely on the budget cycle, the money, you will not move the sector forward. So President Muhammadu Buhari brought something out. It was called intervention fund. So it was given to the ministry. And of course, this catapulted activities. So like I said, mining was a big deal in Nigeria, but then from the advent of oil and gas, 58, 60, we started drifting away until about 75 when mining seemed to have even just stopped totally in Nigeria. Of course, on the big scale, we still have the artisanal miners, those who are, of course, engaged in subsistence mining, something just for their own upkeep. Of course, that one abounds in Nigeria. But that will not, of course, get us to the kind of thing we're looking for.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's good meeting you one-on-one here. You talk of 30 billion intervention fund in 2017. Okay, that was before the COVID-19. But now Nigeria is like a family that has many children, and oil and gas was the first born. Now the first child is not doing that much, so we are back to the second child, that is you. How are the products from the mining sector, how are they faring at the international market right now during this period?
Well, one, because of, obviously, a lot of industrial output had gone down because of this COVID-19, economies are shut down. So things like industrial metals, those minerals that you need in industry are on a little decline. But you see, most interesting is gold. Because the economy is failing all over the world, currencies are crashing. Everybody is looking for safe haven in gold. So the price of gold has been going up. And Nigeria is blessed with gold. We have even proven reserves. Gold is on its highest. Well, it's been beyond this, but as of today, gold is selling for about $1,714 per ounce as of today. And you see, it's on the ascent. It's climbing. So everybody's looking for a safe haven in gold. So gold right now, of all the minerals we have in Nigeria, is a prominent one, that the price is good on the market and all that. And if you take that to the market, that of course can earn us so much. Other metals are there, and of course they will rebound. As soon as COVID-19 is over, those essential minerals that you need in industry, for production, we have them in abundance in Nigeria. And of course, these we're already working on. Post-COVID-19, we can begin to push out. As the economy all over the world start to recover, we can push them into the industry.
But sir, we experience some level of robbery at the gold industry. For instance, we heard of 17 foreigners arrested in Osun State and 2 in Zamfara State, illegally mining gold of late. So are we facing some level of threat at this point?
Well, not something we can contain. We've had issues of illegal mining in Nigeria. It's been with us. Essentially, what has happened is, you see, when government focused away from mining, like I said, in the 60s, 70s, there were those people who were involved in mining originally. It became like, so to say, family business. So there were a lot of people in artisanal miners, we call them artisanal miners, who were just mining for subsistence. These people do not have the right implements, the right tools, equipment to do mining. Yeah. And this set of people attracted illegal miners, So under the guise of these artisanal miners, these people come in with some Greek gift, they bring some equipment and they allow them to farm. Of course, these people are cheated, and then we have the legal miners. So government has been focusing on them, trying to get rid of them. What we've seen in recent times is a resurgence of, well, these are wealth. We need to protect it. So state governments are becoming more aware, and they're cooperating with the federal government to, of course, nip this illegal activity in the bud. And that's what led to what you've just said, Zamfara arresting some people, Osun arresting some people. So It's something, like I said, it's not something that is threatening, but it's something that actually was taking our wealth away illegally. And of course, we need to stem it. And this is the step in the right direction. What has happened?
Let me take you back to gold, because a lot of people, they have this perception, if you're talking wealth, the first thing, when you see gold. In February, the Presidential Artisanal Gold Mining Development Initiative was flagged off in Yauri local government area in Kebbi State. Now, what does this portend for small-scale and artisanal miners?
You see, essentially, what we've done is, we found out that there is no point criminalizing the artisanal miners. So rather than criminalize them, a lot of them work albeit outside the official circle. What I mean official, I don't want to call them illegal. They don't have the requisite permits and all that, a lot of them. So rather than criminalize them, what we've done is, the Presidential Artisanal Mining Initiative, Artisanal Gold Mining Initiative, PAGMI, as it's called, is to recognize these people and bring them into the fold. Take them out of the illegality. Take them out of these charlatans who exploit them, the illegal miners. So what government is doing is, through this initiative, providing equipment and training for them. We're establishing what we call buying centers, equipment leasing centers. So these people, rather than go to these charlatans who exploit them, the legal people, they come to the government centers. They can get the equipment they need. Thereby, they also get training in safety and all that. So it improves their yield. At the same time now, instead of smuggling their products, the winnings, out of Nigeria illegally, they can sell to the buying centers, government-recognized buying centers, who will buy from them at the correct price. The government will not cheat them. So not only that, they increase their yield, they also make better returns on whatever they want. So government say, look, come and take equipment from us. You lease equipment to you. Come back and sell whatever you realize to us and all that. That's what this is all about. And it's working well. Government is grouping them into cooperatives. You put them together. So whatever they win, they come back to government and they sell. They make more money and everybody's better. That way, we can begin to reduce the activity of the legal miners.
That's the chain now.
Yeah, once we bring the artisanal people into the fold, cooperatives, and they work with government, it will leave very little room for the illegal miners because they won't be able to hide under anybody anymore. So,
but they have a challenge in infrastructure. There's infrastructure deficit if we're looking at harnessing some of these potential you're mentioning.
Well,
if we have to streamline it.
Well, mining itself comes with certain infrastructure, which of course, like I said work in progress. Is like what the president has done for us in terms of intervention. With mining, of course, you need good roads. You need rail transportation because some of these are very bulky materials which you can't transport by road. Of course, you also use the river. You need a lot of power. For instance, now there's a new initiative. When I came in, is a downstream policy that we're doing. Right now, a lot of people, what they realize, they export in that raw form. And it doesn't pay them very well. When you export whatever you realized in the raw form, there are a lot of impurities there. They buy it very cheaply from you. So we're saying, look, let's do some value add downstream. So, like if you are mining tin, let's have a smelting plant. You smelt and then you export only tin ingots. That's pure. And then the price is so high. There, you realize more for that your effort. Now, for you to have a tin smelter plant, you need a lot of power, electricity. You need power and all that. So these are some of the infrastructure deficits that we have, which we are working on. So, like I said, it's work in progress. Provide transportation, provide power to these mining sites and all that. And of course, also give them equipment. This is part of the infrastructure that's needed. And of course, the training. So these are work in progress that's been done. Mining, for us to realize the full potential, we need to put in a lot of money. Now, I dare say that the money put in then is working for us. But now, especially with COVID-19, we need to do more in terms of injection of funds so that we can get to where we want to go faster. So basically, that's where we're heading.
Okay, so 5 billion naira was generated by the Bank of Industry in partnership with our ministry. That is 2.5 billion naira per agency. And that was even after the 30 billion naira. And that was probably to empower the unorganized miners, since we should not criminalize them. This is about 2-3 years back. Nigerians are afraid. Hope this money will not get to portfolio carrying members instead of the real miners.
Well, let me correct you first. That 2.5 was part of the 30 billion.
Okay.
The 30 billion given to us, 2.5 was set aside for that purpose.
Okay.
You know, some of it was used for data collection, that's exploration. So it was part of the 30, it's not outside. What we did was partnership with Bank of Industry. Well, of course, who have the so to say, they have the manpower, they have the training and the know-how to deal with that kind of loan. So what we did was they give Bank of Industry 2.5 billion naira, and of course they'll put a counterpart fund of 2.5 billion to make a fund of 5 billion naira. This is meant for the artisanal miners and the small-scale miners, for them, just in line with what I'm saying, to access funds. One, to buy equipment, to develop their minds and so many other things. This money is available at a very low interest rate, 5%, and of course spread out. The way it was structured is you can take a maximum from a minimum of about 5 million to a maximum of 100 million per individual. So this has been going on. Like I said, the fund was given to us in 2017. So you can see that, I mean, just about 2 years, because part of that fund was what was given to Bank of Industry. It's something that is there. What we found that a lot of people at Sinam Islands could not access that fund.
Yes, I was going to ask you
Yes,
that.
they could not access that fund because, you see, they were not structured in such a way to take something that formal. A lot of people can't even do a business development plan. You know, if I take this money, how do I intend to pay back? What do I want to use it for? You know, there's still some basic thing, because, and then we need to disabuse the minds of our people. Everybody sees that as a grant, my own share of the national cake. We need to disabuse people's mind. If you take this money, you must pay back.
Yeah.
It's to help you, and of course, by helping you, we help others as well when you pay back. So this is an ongoing process. A few people have been able to access that fund. We've granted about 3, 4, 5 people that fund. But then we need to do more. We're looking at it again. So, okay, how can we relax the conditions without necessarily throwing away the money? I'm impressed that, okay, the money was put before I came in, but when I came in, the money is still there. It's not somebody telling you a story that, oh, we've given it to 100 people and then the money is gone. So it's still something good, because the money is there. What we need to do is see how better ways of easing the access to that money. And one of the ways we're working on is this through cooperatives, to use peer pressure. You know, so if you're in a cooperative that is registered, a properly registered cooperative, your cooperative body can stand as guarantor for you.
Do you have a database for that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
There's a department in the ministry. It's called Artisanal and Small Scale Mining Department, ASM department. And that's essentially their job. I think as of the last count, we've registered over 300 cooperative bodies. So these cooperatives, we help them to prepare the paper, you know, get them to register, do the proper thing, and they can now access this fund as a body. So you can say, look, this member wants to take this money, we'll all support him, and we'll guarantee when he pays back, other members of the group can access some same fund. So it's work in progress. But I must say, we've realized that this money is even small. If we were to give 100 million to 50 people, 5 billion is gone, you know? And this is something that is one of the things we're working on post-COVID. We need a more robust fund, something in the neighborhood of 200, 250 billion naira to be able to give to the industry, because there's so many activities all over there, people who need this. And like I said, the most important thing is to inject the fund at the right time so that we can discourage the illegal, we can discourage our people from going to the illegal miners. If we give them the right fund, they have the equipment, they have our confidence, and they won't go to the illegal miners and they won't shield them.
The Nigerian Institute of Mining and Geosciences and Just was established in 2018 or so. Now, that was set up and assented to by the president to help develop the capacity, the manpower of these miners. How have the ministry fared in that regard? What in terms of capacity building? Because you're using out loan to people. Do they have the capacity?
That school actually had been on longer than 2018,
okay.
But the hack was passed in 2018. I think that's what you're referring to. That school is more of a postgraduate institution, you know. It doesn't take, but it provides the right manpower. It trains people and all that. I'm beginning to feel that, because you see, for instance, mining is knowledge-based. It's based on data and all that. Apart from the artisanal miners, sincerely, they use intuition and all that because they were born there and all that. So there's likely we have this mineral there. And more often than not, they guess it right. But you see, to do proper mining, you need to do more than guesswork, which is what they do, because oftentimes they miss as well. So this is part of the training. So to train competent people who can interpret data. You can obtain your data from the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. That's one of our agencies, the frontline people. If you're interested in mineral development in Nigeria, they are the people to approach first. You go to them and you can get data. They can give you data on any particular mineral you want. We've identified about 44 so far in Nigeria. Or if you say, okay, just give us all the minerals you have, and it can give you this data map, which are very indicative and all that. So we develop the right kind of manpower who can interpret this, who can say, oh, let's work further on this, let's do further exploration here, and the likelihood that we'll get something here and all that. So the school is fulfilling its purpose and all that, and it's there. It's
Okay,
working.
so I'm still taking you from there. You know, you have a very rich background. You're an architect, so you are a comfortable member in the construction family. And Nigeria infrastructure is a major problem, and Ministry of Mines and Steel has the capacity to at least assist the industry through the provision of, development of bitumen and all that. And I remember you set up a committee to develop that even before the coronavirus. So I hope the attack from coronavirus on the economy will not affect your plan to develop bitumen in the country.
Oh, well, thank you for that. I must not claim that glory. Actually, the bitumen committee was set up before I came. And what I'm doing is, you see, harnessing the results and all that. And the potential is very good. We've got very good bitumen. In fact, foreign investors that come to say it from Canada, because right now the biggest producer of bitumen in the world is Canada and the USA. They've come and they say that, look, even our bitumen is better than their own. The way it's found and all that, easier to process, and it's of better quality. So investors are rallying, but we still need to do the proper thing. And so that's what we're doing. We'll probably go into what they call a bid round very soon. We've done some research and all that. We know where this is. It's essentially around Ogun, Ondo, Edo axis, and of course some part of Lagos. It's got bitumen. Something very interesting. Just I think Monday, a gentleman came into my office, an elderly man. Yeah, he had an OPL from NNPC. That's the prospecting license, something like exploration. While he was searching for crude oil, he came across bitumen. And of course, it's coming to us now, of course, to obtain a mining lease. We're in that process. He's well ahead of the curve because he already has some kind of license to that area. We want to license him. Someone like that, if they have the proper funding, of course, not from government, they can approach the market. The potential is there, and of course, what is there is sufficient to attract funding. Before the end of the year, they could be producing bitumen. And I promised them, if they produce bitumen in this country, we can now approach the council and ask for a policy for us to stop importing bitumen. Essentially, now we import most of our bitumen from Morocco, and Nigeria. We can, like you said, we're doing a lot of roads, whether it's construction of new roads, whether it's the repairing roads. Of course, you always need that asphaltic overlay, on our roads. And the basic ingredient there is bitumen. We've got this plenty. We need to exploit it. These are some of the ways mining can begin to help the economy. We plug the holes where we need to import all those things. We substitute locally. And of course, our foreign exchange can be used for some other things, something more useful. Because we got a lot of these minerals. It's same with a lot of industrial minerals, in the paint industry, in the pharmaceutical industry. We got the minerals that are used, which now are imported. But what we need to do is develop them and, of course, do import substitution. And we can, of course, save our foreign exchange.
But we can't be talking importation right now until post-COVID.
That's what I'm saying. Even now, it's planned that I was on to substitute importation. We can stop importation because we have this thing. All we have to do is develop them, take them out of the ground. So what you are importing, you have at home. It's just that little step, go the extra mile of bringing it out, and you don't have to import anymore.
Which brings me to this question. States, a lot of states in Nigeria are blessed with these solid minerals that are yet to be harnessed. Now, what's the synergy like with states government, from the federal side with the states government, in terms of exploring some of these minerals? Because if we're going to be looking inward for the growth of the economy, now is the time.
Well, All states in Nigeria, the 36 states, in fact, including the FCT where we are, we're all blessed with minerals.
Yes.
If you look at the mineral map of Nigeria, it's so interesting. Every part of this country is blessed with minerals, one mineral or the other. From lead, zinc in Ebonyi, to gold in Zamfara, to barites in Nasarawa. We're all blessed. Now, just like the oil and gas, this mineral is on the exclusive list. That is, only the federal government can administer them. But because of the interest of the state's government, the federal government has come up with a platform. States can now participate in mining, but they can't come as government. They have to come as corporate bodies. And of course, a lot of states are taking care of, they're taking advantage of that. They're forming companies, corporate bodies who can approach us and take a license for mining. So if they're interested in any mineral in their jurisdiction, rather than coming as a government, state government, no, they form a company. And the company can apply for all those licenses and exploit it. And of course, they'll be treated just like other investors who are coming in on that corporate body. So we've got a good synergy with the states. The states, of course, everybody's now interested, especially that something might be drying up from the center, everybody's interested. So states are responding. In fact, almost every state has a mining company now that, of course, is registered, is properly incorporated, and of course, they are approaching us for licenses. So we've got a good synergy with the states, and they were working on them.
Okay, sir, when you assumed office, I think one of the first callers was the governor of the state of solid minerals, that's Nasarawa State. He paid a courtesy call on you, and he emphasized on the need for the ministry and the state to at least have a clear-cut understanding on the issue of 13%. And other related matters. So, what is the
sure what?
13% at least. Derivation that 30% will be given to the state since solid minerals are found in the exclusive legislative list. And secondly, the miners are complaining of double taxation. States want to tax them, federal government want to tax them, and that will definitely affect their profit. So, how do you address some of these issues?
Okay, let me take it one at a time. The first thing is that I was the one that went to see the Nasarawa governor, because it was one of the states, they call it the state of solid minerals. So I went to visit him. Yes, the 13% derivative is not my making, it's not my policy. It's something that's always been there. It's something that's carried over from oil and gas. It's a federal government policy that's always been there. Whatever is found in your domain, you are, of course, entitled to 30% of that, after our cost is done and all that. So it's the same policy that's coming to minerals, 13% derivation. So even if as a state government, you are not participating, anything realized from your state that comes into the federal purse, even before it's shared among, with the federation account, you are entitled, first of all, to that 13%. That's what the derivation is all about. And of course, it's been done, even before I came into office, that has been done. Right now, it may not be big money, maybe a few 100 million is shared, maybe about $1 billion is shared, periodically among these people. But, as we begin to do more exploitation, and the money is huge, and probably even surpass what we get from oil and gas, we will begin to recognize it. But it's something that's been done now, yes. We do 13% derivation, because what we do is that what is realized from every state, of course, is recorded by the ministry. We have at the head of operation in every state what we call a federal mines officer. And of course, they monitor that and it goes into the federation account. So at the sharing, at the federal allocation account, that money, of course, is done, 13% is done to every state before the rest goes into the purse. Now, you talk about double taxation and all that. This is some of the things we are working on with the states. That mining is actually the prerogative of the federal government. And of course, they should not burden our investors too much. Some people is making them to lose interest, sending investors away. So, which is one of the reasons I've been visiting a few states, talk with the governors and say, look, we need to attract these investors. Federal government has put a lot of incentive in place. We have tax holidays, we have duty waiver on mining equipment and all that. This is to attract the right investment into that sector. We cannot be doing that as a federal government and then other states thwarting that, by all this little tax. Every governor, of course, wants the best for his or her people.
Yeah.
So they want to generate revenue. We understand that. But we need to meet some part of the way, and say, look, let's develop this field first, and then everybody will gain from it. So it's work in progress. We're talking to the governors on this kind of double taxation we're talking about, and we're getting results.
And the possibilities of exploration for our minerals is endless. Before the coronavirus pandemic, the global economy was moving towards exploring minerals that can support green energy. And for us in Nigeria, since the world is already moving away from fossil fuels, what are the possibilities for us in Nigeria? Are we exploring some of these minerals like tin, lead?
Well, tin lead belongs to the old one. The new things are lithium, cobalt, coltan. These are minerals of the future. And, we've got indications in Nigeria that these are there. There's a program coming from that intervention fund. It's called National Mineral Exploration Project, integrated. It's called NIMEP. It's something, the bulk of the fund given to us was directed at that, which of course to generate data. And some of these minerals of the future as a focus in this, where we have people looking for where these minerals are. And the results are very promising. We've got lithium in Nigeria. This is going to be one of the minerals of the future. We've got coltan, cobalt. These are the minerals that we use in the future. We've got copper. So this is the direction. All we need to do is, be ready for the future. If you mind this is the focus where everybody's going to go. Yes, like you said, fossil fuel is out. Some states or some countries, they've already put time limit. By 2025, some are saying 2030, they don't want fossil fuel cars on the road anymore. So some of these minerals are the minerals of the future, and Nigeria has good potentials for this one. All we need to do is do further exploration, gather the data, and of course, bring in the right investor. It could be local investors who explore these minerals and bring them out of the ground. And of course, we can sell and make money for the country.
Okay, I think let's discuss briefly on your most prized child, if I may call him that way. That is the Jakarta Steel Company. Just a few days ago, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation inaugurated a committee, and last year you were in Russia with the President as well in relation to reviving the plant. So where are we now, sir?
Well, the resuscitation of Jakarta has been on everybody's mind in Nigeria. As I've said before, it's an emotional topic. And we went to the Russian-African Summit last year when we met the President. And on the side of that summit, the Russian-African Summit, there was a bilateral between Nigeria and the Russian Federation. And Mr. President requested of the Russian President a Jakarta resuscitation on a government-to-government basis. And of course, he obliged us, and that is what we're working on and all that. Since then, that was in October 23-24 last year. Since then, we've exchanged a lot of correspondences. Data has been sent to them, what we have and all that. And if not for the COVID-19, what we should have some boots on ground now to do what we call a technical audit. They want to send experts. It was built by the Soviet people, Russians, Ukrainians, under the Soviet Union then. So they want to send experts there to come and do what you call a technical audit. What is the state of equipment? Because they've left since 1994. They want to look at it and all that. And the possibility of even upgrading because of new technology that is coming. So the plan that they have there. So this is where we are. What the President has done, I requested of the President to set up a team so that we'll have the presidential mandate to execute certain things. And it's giving us a go-ahead. And that's the team that was inaugurated by the SGF. The SGF is the chairman, and I'm the alternate chairman, because the SGF is a very busy man. Is there as the chairman. But we can carry on, because my primary responsibility, we can run with it, and of course report to him and report to the President occasionally as the case will be.
What are some of the terms of reference, sir?
Well, if I put it in one word, is to do all that is reasonably possible to bring Jakarta to fruition. Let it begin to produce liquid steel, which is what it was meant for. And of course, the major thing, the President said that we don't want to spend Nigerian money. We don't want to put any cover from Nigerian money in this. So we're going to get funding and do a business case such that Jakarta pays back. And that's what we're working on. So basically, what this team is doing, that all the details that encompasses, do all that is best possible within legal limits to bring Jakarta to fruition, using investors' money, and of course making a business case such that Jakarta pays back for itself from its products.
Okay, is that some level of concessioning?
Well, we're looking at BOT, build, operate, transfer. That's what you're looking at essentially now. We know that even steel is always in demand, even if you just look at it. Jakarta in its first phase will produce about 1.3 metric tons of steel. Nigerian consumption is even more than that. As of now, we import. We import from China essentially. If you're able to bring Ajakuta on stream, like I said, it's part of the import substitution I said. By the time Ajakuta gets to its third phase, it will be producing about over 5 million metric tons. Of course, which will satisfy local demand, and of course, we can begin to supply to the West African sub-region. Taking care of this after thing.
But
So,
would you say in any way the COVID-19 could stall the process? Because we're looking at huge funds coming into this and not from Nigeria's pocket.
not so much the fund. COVID-19 has already stalled, like I told you. If not for the COVID-19 and, of course, the lockdown, air travel and all that, we should have had people who would have been here since like end of February. They needed like a 3-month period to do the technical audit. So you see now we've lost April, we've lost March, we've lost April, and then May is already going. Nobody's there to travel. If they had come in then, by end of May, we will have had a definite statement that, okay, to bring Ajakuta to fruition will cost us so much. We'll have gone to the negotiation table and say, okay, we'll agree on a price. We already have some promises in terms of funding. Afrexim Bank is bringing in $1 billion. The Russian Export Center is bringing about $450 million. That we have. The cost might be more than that after taking out it. So these are the things that actually should have progressed. So it's not so much COVID is stopping funding, but COVID is actually stopping the activity.
But there's a 13-man panel that has been inaugurated. What strategies is this committee looking at?
Well, like I said, a lot of work has been going on even before this committee. The people you see on the committee, which is essentially myself, we've got Ministry of Finance, of course, represented by the Permanent Secretary. We've got the Ministry of Justice, represented by the Permanent Secretary. My ministry, of course, the Permanent Secretary and myself are in there. The head of Ajakuta itself, the Solar Administrator, the head of Neomco, that's the major iron ore company that supplies, is also on that committee. Then we've got some industry experts on that committee. And that committee has been working for a while, even since December, since we came back from, they've been working. So it's like making this official. This is the committee that has been, liaising with the Russian and, of course, with Afrexim Bank, giving them data, what they require and all that. And we've got a position where they were supposed to come in and do technical audits, which will have taken us forward. We will have been looking like end of this month, we say, oh, Ajakuta is going to call X amount. We'll sit down, negotiate, and begin to get the fund. That's where we should have been at the end of this month. But of course, better late than never. As soon as this air travel is lifted, the ban on air travel is lifted, these experts will come in to start the technical audit.
So are we facing any challenge from the courtrooms?
What is it?
From the courtrooms about Ajakuta, or legal cases?
Well, Ajakuta has some legacy legal issues, which of course has been taken care of by the Ministry of Justice. We have some legacy issues, and they've been taken care of. But I mean, without prejudice to that, we are forging ahead with this. It's most important for us to realize this project. It's going to catapult this country. There are a lot of values I have downstream. Once we produce steel at that level, apart from like the import substitution I said, it's going to revive a lot of industry, and all that. So it's something we want to do and we must do. Those legal things you're talking about, the historical ones, of course, the ministry is on top of it. Ministry of Justice is on top of them.
And we can't take away the fact that metal industry has been unarguable, noted as the bedrock of industrialization anywhere in the world. If we're talking sustainable development, bring us up to speed on the Nhadra Meteorological Industry Bill. I know it's still a draft.
Well, we have a school of metallurgy somewhere in Onitsha there and all that. And I think there was a previous attempt to pass this bill. But we had some, resistance, opposition from some stakeholders outside who felt they were not taken along in the process of passing. So we've gone back to the drawing board. We've brought everybody on board now, and that bill is poised for it to be passed. Everybody's had their input. Those people who protested initially and all that, they've been brought on board. So we have a good draft now. Of course, all it needs to do now is go back to the council, and of course, it's only the council that can send bills to the National Assembly. So this bill will go back to council, and of course, council will send it to the Assembly for passage. So it's something that
Can you break down a bit of the content in that draft?
Well, basically, it takes care of the policies on that industry, the metallurgy industry. You're talking of the people who are engaged at the upstream end, the downstream end. Even Ajakuta is involved in that bill. It's something that's very comprehensive. How people deal with still the quality of steel that we produce. I don't want to delve too much into that. Right now, some people are producing steel at substandard level. That bill actually deals with that as well. How we regulate the industry, the standard that should be produced, and everything. So the bill is very comprehensive. Like I said, we had that little itch when some people, the bill hasn't passed then because it was actually going to second, third reading in the National Assembly. When this group, I don't want to mention the group, it's a well-established body, and of course they said they were not carried along. So we've gone back to the drawing board. Everybody's now on board, and we are pushing it back to the National Assembly. It's a very comprehensive bill.
Minister, we have estates. I can remember Shivusagaru Estate in Ajakuta Hospital, hydropower plant and all that. And this property has been lying there for over 40 years. In terms of protecting those facilities, security-wise, what efforts are you putting in so that they won't be vandalized during this period?
Well, I must say this. Ajakuta itself, it's a city.
Yes, yeah.
Bigger than the FCT.
Yeah.
If you look at the extent of the FCT itself, it's not as big as Ajakuta.
Yeah.
So Ajakuta has all the components that the city will have. And of course, we're lucky. The federal government has been shouldering that burden by paying salaries since. So there are people in Ajakuta who are helping to keep eye on the thing. When I visited, I was surprised. Yeah. The plant is not vandalized. I mean, that's, I'm sorry to say, it's unusual in Nigeria. If you had abandoned such a plant, you won't find anything there. People will go and take some parts and all that and then use for their own end. So the plants are still there. Maybe it's safe for the modernization that needs to be done. The housing estates are there. It's a very vast city. If I spent 2 days there, we could not even cover everywhere because it's so big. It has its own port facility. There's an airstrip that is planned. You know, you can have something like Abuja Airport if you care. I mean, of course, you don't want to put an international airport there. But, you know, it's got facility that a big city will have. So Ajakuta itself, it's still evolving. It's developing. As soon as the steel plant is able to come on, all these plans will, of course, will fit in. Because then a lot of people will come in there, you know, from the upstream. That's the people who supply the materials that goes into production, and then the off-taker itself. So it begins to develop, and you have a steel city, which was what was envisaged by our founding fathers for Ajakuta itself.
So the benefits are enormous if we...
Oh, yes, it is. It is. Very, very.
Okay, so but what can you tell us about safety of miners? If we're exploring a lot of this potential, there must be safety in check across state. Now, what has the ministry done to put all that in check?
You know, I told you. I said what we are offering the miners is safety as well. It's not just giving them equipment, giving them... We're training them on safety because we've had issues, you know. Because mining itself is a very big industry and it's got its own checks and balances, safeties and all that. But you see, we're not dealing with the big mining here. I was in South Africa, I think it was in February, and there's a mine there, mind-boggling. It's about 4 kilometers down. Can you imagine what 4 kilometers is? That's deep. You know, you got a shaft that goes down about 4 kilometers into the core there, and that's where they're doing the mining. And when you get to that level, it's like a big city over there at that level because it spreads out, and you have a lot of activity going there. When you're there, you don't even know, I mean, you forget the top there. But we're not into that yet because that is strictly controlled. But even with the artisanal miners that we have, there are a lot of safety issues. People go in there without doing proper shoring. They've had the mines collapsing on them. People die. Some people have maybe a water table, and then the mine is flooded, and of course people die. So these people have been taught rudimental safety, health safety, and what have you. So it's something that's ongoing on. Part of the package you are giving these artisanal miners is safety training. How to ensure that they're safe when they're doing this mining. So it's an ongoing thing. But when you come to the proper formal mining, of course, it's got its own protocol. You know, where even when you're doing 200 meters down, you know that you're risking life because you need to breathe at that place. You have to do proper prevention. Your walls don't collapse on you and all that. So that, of course, has its own protocol. We are not reinventing the wheel. Their mining jurisdictions are very mature. They've done this. But when it comes to artisanal miners, we're helping them to teach them the proper methods, even within their surface mining methods.
Okay, taking a lesson from the Zamfara experience and Niger State, we had lead poisoning killed some persons in the past. And some of those miners, they operate, even industrial miners, they operate within communities. Are you considering the environment of sometimes the communities where those activities are going on?
That is part of the safety training we're doing. There are other methods without using mercury, so of course to extract your gold. You know, when you bring out gold, and maybe a few people may believe that, oh, the gold just comes and you pick the gold. No, every mineral that you mine probably comes with other impurities. You need to now extract the gold from the impurity. Some of the ways that are not encouraged is when people use mercury and all that. And of course, the mercury leads to leaching. It gets into the waterways, which people drink. Some people, out of ignorance, they were using the mortar, their mortar that they normally use for their food, for their grains. They were using it to pound what they realized, which of course contained lead, and of course, so that's what happened in Zamfara case. People were ingesting lead directly, you know, from their gold processing. Once you pound it, you get the gold out, but the lead is now within your mortar. You now bring your grains that you're going to eat, and then you pound as well. And once you ingest lead into your body, it's something that's very deadly. It attacks the nervous system. So we had several deaths then, and of course, a few people that are alive, you know, their life are impaired because it's not something that you can cure. Once it affects you, it's permanent. You can only manage it from there. So it's part of the safety training we're saying. You don't have to do this. These are the proper ways. Even when you realize your goal, these are the proper and safe ways of realizing the gold out of what you have mined. So, like I said, it's a lot of training going on. It's out of ignorance that people do that. And government is doing its best to train them and so that they can be safe.
Okay, let's talk about corruption. Since I don't think your ministry has generated up to 10 billion in the past, but this year you have a target of 10 billion before the coronavirus. I was in the press briefing. So corruption-wise, and you promised in your inaugural speech in the ministry, corruption and job creation, cardinal to your administration. So how far so far, sir?
Well, corruption is something that is in with us in Nigeria. What we're doing is that we're trying so much to let the workers know that, look, like on most of the speeches I talk, especially when I'm talking with our people when I visit them, it's Nigeria first. If you think Nigeria first, then everybody's better off. But if you're thinking self first, you yourself will not be able to enjoy that your spoils. Because by thinking yourself first, you are marginalizing so many people, which of course has led to this unrest. But by thinking Nigerian first, you are baking a bigger cake where everybody can participate, and then you can have peace of mind the little you get. But there's no point acquiring so much illegally, you know, with corruption, and then you cannot enjoy it. So it's like work in progress. You need to talk to people. And like I said, it's always down to the last man. From the guy who's at the border, you know, people mine gold illegally, they need to take it out of this country. Our gold essentially goes to Dubai, you know, United Arab Emirates. But there's a man. At that point, he's supposed to stop them. If you think of Nigeria, you stop them. If you think of a pocket, you collect pittance and they take out the gold. By robbing the rest of Nigerians of their wealth, you are depriving Nigerians. And you are making things more difficult. When you make things more difficult, the country becomes what it is. And you yourself cannot enjoy that little change that is put in your pocket. So we keep doing this advocacy and all that. We did some brochure pamphlets that were placed at the ports. It's not just left to the customs officer, immigration officers. They are at the front there. Even then, at the mining site, the local people who cooperate with these people, you know, or collude with them, let's say, you know, to make sure they do this thing. So it's down the line. Everybody must do their bit, you know, and even you that you see them, you should report. Because this recent arrest was going to whistleblowers, people who did the right thing and say, oh, these people have started again. And of course, government acted on that and they were arrested. So everybody's got to do their bit when it comes to corruption in Nigeria. If everybody would think Nigeria first, then we'll all be better for it.
Okay, and of course we know that no economy in the world will remain the same after this coronavirus pandemic, which we all hope and pray to come out of it. For the ministry now, a lot of attention will be focused on it, aside agriculture. What blueprint have you rejigged your blueprint to look at ways the industry can still generate revenue for the country, irrespective of COVID-19?
Well, it's not so much rejigging because, like I said, we were on a journey. All we need to do now is to move faster.
Because we're not relying on investors again. for now?
Well, you see, that's the thing about investment. Money will always flow to where there's good return. And that's what Nigeria pretends. Apart from the fact that now, of course, with this COVID, a lot of manufacturing is coming out of China. Everybody's realizing that now. And Africa is the next frontier. Nigeria is positioned to receive this investment. People are going to move their manufacturing here. Well, no, we've got the manpower. And of course, our money is good. Good exchange rates. So that means they can produce in a cheaper way and all that. So Nigeria, we are poised for that. But like we've been on this journey. It's something that I say, okay, because of funding, we need to graduate this, we'll do this, so we want to be somewhere by this time. Now, because of the COVID, we might need to, if you want to use your word, rejig, but essentially what we need to do, we might say, okay, let's move faster. So the fund intervention you are looking at to come gradually, you might say, oh, we need to have a large intervention again at this point so that we can be where we need to be faster. Basically, that's it. But our blueprint stays in place. We know where we're going. We've been working on the minerals of the future and all that. We've been working in industrial metals. We've been working on gold and all that. But now we may need to move. Maybe we were doing long distance before. We might need to go into a sprint.
Okay, we're winding this down. I don't know if Mia has a final question.
Nothing much, just a brief on the Mean Diver program. That is World Bank assisted program to at least diversify the nation's economy. Are we receiving any support from the World Bank or international bodies to at least improve on our resources?
That is one of the things I said when I said we need to thank President Muhammadu Buhari, because apart from the intervention which was given, they also got the World Bank to support the mining sector. That's what you call the Mean Diver. So, and the Mean Diver is done fantastically well. Because what investors internationally wanted, they wanted us to upgrade certain things. Like now, if you want to come into Nigeria to find out anything about Nigeria or mining, the first port of call is the data center. That's the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. Now, with the Mean Diver, we've been able to put them out there. You don't have to leave your country to come to Nigeria to come and ask, oh, do you have gold? Or where do you have lead? Or where do you have coltan? From the comfort of your bedroom or your office, anywhere in the world, you can go onto that platform. And then you can begin to see data about Nigeria. The data, of course, are in layers. Some, they are accessible for free. Some, you have to pay some fee to be able to access data. This data, of course, will allow you to take the right decision. Okay, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. And, of course, the next stage is the licensing. That's the cadastre office. How you obtain your license, exploration license, mining license. Now, also, Mindeva has taken this onto another pedestal. Anywhere you are in the world now, you can access our licensing regime.
Okay.
A lot of Nigerians go out there and say, oh, I have this license, come and partner with me. Some investors have found that down to be true. But before, they had to come down to find out. But now, from the comfort of where you are, you can look in and say, oh, this man has, yes, this license belongs to him. Or you yourself can apply for a license from whatever you are, remotely. These are some of the improvements that Mindava has brought to us. We've taken it to international standard, and that's where we are now.
So in a word, are we planning to retrieve inactive licenses?
It's an ongoing process. I mean, since I've been in office, we've retrieved over 1,000 licenses. You see, there are protocols for that. You can't just take somebody's license because they can take you to court. And the good thing is, I see several people are taking the ministry to court. We've never lost any case.
All right. I'm afraid, Honorable Minister, that's where we call it off, because we've run out of time. Thank you very much for coming on the program. And just like the mineral resources we have in Nhadra that is yet to earnest, I know you have so much you want to put on table for us here. Thank you very much for coming on platform.
Thank you so much, Ruth.
And
I appreciate
also,
it.
I want to appreciate Mia Ogidi, our Mines and Steel correspondent. Thank you for your contribution.
Thank you, Ruth.
All right, for the past 15 minutes and more, we have been exploring Nigeria's mining sector and sustainable development. Now, the goal is to see that 3% of the mining sector contribute to the GDP by 2025. There's so much to harness in Nigeria. All we need to do is look inward. That has been Platform. I'm Ruth Aguele. Thanks for your time. Bye.
There is a lot of fake news and report circulating, especially on social media on the coronavirus. Do not believe or participate